Good evening, everybody. We're gonna get going here. I'm sure people will come in as we start. But first, I want to introduce myself, Ryan Hinkle. I'm the girls competitive director. With us tonight, we have James Rooks, who's the boys competitive director. He's going to be monitoring the chat on the side. So if you have any questions, instead of chatting during the presentation, go ahead and please put it in the chat. James will find the time to pop in and share the question with us, and we'll respond, or we'll wait till the end based on the question. Really excited to be here, guys. This is my passion. I'm also the college advisory director for the club. My passion is seeing kids go on and continue on in life beyond where we are, and know that we've provided them a platform for just being good people, being great soccer players, and going forward. So we're very excited about this program. With that said, we're going to start the presentation in a second. I want to show on our website, we've abbreviated this, so this could be more of a question answer. If you go to our website and you go to the resources tab, and then you go to our college advisory program, and then go down to Real Colorado Edge Information Guide, the original, very detailed presentation is here for everybody to go through, and it makes it more so that you can read it and understand what we're doing in more detail versus just chatting it through this evening. So we want this to be more of a dialogue, but just know that on our website, again, under our resources tab, if you go to college advisory program and then down to our Real Edge information, you'll have even more detail than we have this evening. So just know that's there for us and to be able to go to it at any point. All right, with this, we'll get started, guys. Alex Morgan says it best, a women's national team player. She wishes that she knew that she wasn't going to peak at 14. All right, what you look like today as a freshman or a 8th grade boy player, it doesn't mean you're going to be that player at 18, and that can go any different way, from being a player now that's really creative to a player that might be creative and also dynamic. So just your story may start now, but your story will be written as the years go. Just something you need to know. I've seen many a player change over the years, as James has. Why are you here? The purpose of the Real Colorado Edge Advisory Program is to help your child find the right school for their college experience, academically, athletically, and socially. And it's not surprising it's in that order. Academically should guide everything. Athletically and socially, hopefully, you can choose which way that goes. But for us, academics guides everything, and we'll get into that as we go. You'll find here, it's very important to recognize that the days have changed. The process for what we go through and what we want your players to go through is to get recruited, not to be recruited. It's long past. If you don't mind muting as you come in, guys. That would be process now is to get recruited, not be recruited. Long are the days when James, myself, David Kramer, Jay Hamilton showed up to a soccer field. All the coaches just came out to watch us play. Your whole process in this college, search is to get yourselves in front of the coaches, because coaches just don't randomly show up to our fields. It used to be the case, and so understand getting recruited is different than being recruited, and we work very hard as a program to make sure we do that. These next two slides just show you how many programs there are. There's a place for everybody to play. It's just a matter of finding the right place for you, and that's what tonight is about, is trying to help you find those places. You go through here, there's everything from D1 to junior colleges to D3s, and we'll go through what those mean. Next slide actually shows you what each of those does, and shows you what kind of resources each of those programs has. Again, this is on our website under the resources tab. You can go back and really dive into detail as we go. Again, we hope this is more of a question answer as we go through. So again, here are the requirements, not the requirements, but all the different pieces to each of those programs, how many scholarships they have. Note that this is changing. It's changing as we go. We're in a different world. A lot of programs have changed based on what their academics and what their institutions can do financially, given the pandemic we're going through. But this was going into the pandemic, and we spend a lot of time chatting with those coaches to make sure that we're actually in a good place, understanding and being able to help our membership. So any questions on any of these things, ask James, ask myself. We're here to help you through the process. Setting the stage. Parents are always going to like what we say here, and we made it very, very clear. Every stage of the recruiting process is making sure that you're eligible academically. All right, there are 22 times more academic money than there is athletic money. Most of our student athletes that are playing in college now, their package was mainly weighted towards academics, and then of course, they can get some athletic money along the way. So as you enter your high school careers to get the grades, make sure that you know that 25% of your grade is your freshman year, 25% of your grade is your sophomore year, and that doesn't change as you go through it. So no parent will ever feel upset about this being shared. It's one of the greatest things about what we're trying to do here. So very important to make sure that you're prepared, not only for your grades, testing, and of course your personal development. Continued on the academics. No grades, no college. The focus begins as a freshman. We just said it. Colleges can't take away an athletic scholarship based on athletic performance, but they can for academic performance. And again, coaches will look at your academics as a tool to kind of sort out who you are as a person and your maturity. And the final piece, of course, and probably even more important, is the academic performance can make the difference of whether you get accepted to a school. A lot of schools actually tell you that you have to be accepted to the institution before they actually give you an offer into their program. And so, whereas some schools can help you through the process, some actually need you accepted first. It really comes down to what kind of school you're looking at, and we'll get into that later on here. Setting the stage continued, and if you go back to the resource online, each of these goes into extreme detail. Freshman year has an entire slide and tells you all the little pieces, but we're gonna dive down into the basics. This is about developing your grades. This is about making sure that you're working on your craft. Those two things will guide you as the process goes on. Sophomore year, and again, we're gonna go into these more details shortly. Continue work on your grades. This is a point where I'd start gathering some game video so you can start building a highlight reel. Again, nowadays, video is becoming very prevalent, especially currently right now during the pandemic. But I think that because of this, you're going to see that college coaches are finding that video is actually more important to start identifying players as they go. We've actually currently had a few players sign, and they've actually never been in front of the college coach. It's new. I'm curious to see how it pans out in the end, but very important to start to gather the video. Create a college list. We're going to talk about that in the next few slides here, and initiate your first communication with college coaches, depending on what level you're looking at. Again, we'll talk about that in a few minutes here. Junior year focus. This is where we start to get you in front of college coaches, not only as a club. We're going to put you at the ID camps. The showcase events. We're going to talk about getting to ID camps, which is the entire process that we're working on here is to get you to ID camps, which is where every player, that's your final time in front of the college coach. And so, we work to make sure that we get you in front of these coaches. And again, our staff is here and experienced in making sure that you get that process. Video becomes important, of course. Senior year focus, again, getting in front of the college coaches, ID camps, video, showcase events until you find your home. Creating a school list. This is where we start to get into, what all of this that we just spoke about gets us to. What school would I choose if I didn't even play soccer? It's very important. I was chatting with a coach that had played in school and actually just went to the best school they can go to, and they found out that when soccer wasn't in season, soccer was awesome, but when soccer wasn't in season, they were in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And there was a railroad track that went through the town. There might be one stoplight in the middle of the town. There was nothing else to do. And so, they just weren't happy, and they ended up transferring. It just wasn't a place for them. So it's something to think about. I mean, you want to make sure that you're in a place where you're going to spend 4 years of your life happily. We're a place I can see myself living, same exact thought. Do I want a big school experience, or do I want a small school experience? Big sports, little sports, football, or not football. These are all things that go into the culture of the university. Do I want to play immediately or do I want to wait my turn? These, as you're starting to develop your college list, everything here is pertinent to what you're trying to do. What am I looking to do educationally? I hope this guides everybody. Probably should put this up at the top. I put up the top where you would go even if you didn't play soccer, just because I think people overlook that. But academically, that should guide almost everything. Are there schools I've heard about great things about? This comes from James. This comes from myself, our staff. Jay, David. Any of these guys. We're here and we've had incredible experiences with a lot of schools. Same exact theory. Local schools, we'd always suggest using local schools as an opportunity to work on your process. Go look at the smaller schools in Colorado, the D3s, the D2s. Look at what that environment looks like. Watch the soccer. Look at the big schools. Watch the soccer. We'll talk about that. Understanding where we can play. It's very important to actually see what that level looks like to you, so you can actually have an opportunity to compare, whether you can play at that level or whether that level might be too low for where you want to be. So important to use local schools before you start spending money on traveling to, start that experience. And again, as we just spoke about, watch D1, D2, D3 games and start forming an idea of your potential fit. Long shots right in the home, and obviously undershooting at times. As this process starts, once you've started to build your college list, start to create a communication logs, meaning every time you start to communicate with a coach, make sure that you have a way to track all this when the day comes that you start communication. This could be College Fit Finder. We use it as a club. This could be an Excel spreadsheet that keeps the school name, the coaching staff, all their communication, contacts, emails, not just for the head coach. Make sure you have emails for the head coach, the assistant coach, and of course any of their assistants. You never know who's actually doing the initial recruiting for those schools. Have that somewhere. I have a kid that actually has the old school notebook, and in that notebook there's a tab for every school that they've been looking at. It doesn't matter how you do it. Make sure that you have it so that you don't lose track of what you've been working on. Through your communication process, and again, we'll get to when the communication process happens. Understand how to leave a good voicemail. It's important to understand that until going out of their sophomore year, June 15th, the D1 and D2 schools can't actually have communication back to you. So if you leave a voicemail, they can't call you back. So the voicemail includes your coach's contact, and they know that you can call them and have communication with them, knowing that they can't call you back, right? So understand that there are rules around how they are allowed having contact with you. Again, information to have within the phone call. Communicating with schools, and this is where it all comes down to, and understand that the end goal of everything we do is to get to the ID camp. I've had in 20 plus years one player commit to a school where they've never been to the ID camp, one. And I've had 309 committed players personally. One of 309 did not get to the ID camp and therefore have their final decision made in that environment. Very important to understand. So we want to make sure that everybody here understands the purpose of this entire process is to get to ID camps. Now, as we're in a different time right now and waiting to see what the pandemic brings, ID camps for D1s aren't there right now. D2s, D3s is actually still going, but we're still hoping that we're guiding you in that process to get to ID camps. Understand that's your piece. So with that, let's say you're a freshman and you've done your grades. Now you moved on. You're a sophomore. You started to build your list. We say to build a big net, to cast a big net. 40, 50 schools. Think where, again, you've watched the video, you understand the level you probably could play at. Have some reach schools. Maybe 10, 20% of your schools have a massive middle ground where you think you really could play. Undershoot a little bit, cast a wide net. Yeah, you never know what you're going to find as you do that. As I create school lists and talk to players about creating school lists, and James does the same, we we suggest to look at a conference. You might be looking at a specific school. Top Drawer Soccer is a great resource to look at leagues, and you can go on there and it has every school in each division. And you can say, let's say just the RMAC, just because we're here in town. Let's say Regis, D2 school here, RMAC, one of the schools that a lot of our players would love to be able to play at in front of our local fans. If you go and you search RMAC and you look at the other schools in the RMAC and you originally were looking at Regis, you're going to see 10 other schools that you might want to contact. So as you create your list, add schools from the entire conference. You never know where you're gonna end up. We had a player that just recently committed to a Division I university, and she was looking at Florida Gulf Coast University, and this player ended up committing for another D1 university in that conference. So don't rule out opportunities, but actually add. So wide net, cast a wide net. Back to the original piece here, which is create a cover letter. Cover letter. We are happy to share our resources and templates. Cover letter should, in your first email, as you decide to communicate. If you're truly shooting high, I would start their sophomore year. It's never too late to start. We've had players that don't start till their senior year. In the end, the sooner you start, the better the opportunities. But there's never, I don't know why that, there you go. Sorry, it's back. But your first letter should include who you are. I say use your name as your subject, no matter what you do. John Smith, class of 2022. That should be your subject, and it's just like marketing. The more you see Coca-Cola, the more you see I don't know, pick a business. The more you see that business, the more it's marketing for that person, for that business. And in this case, it's your player, right? It's yourself. So John Smith, that's your email. In that email, give your GPA, give your school, the team you play for, and in your first email, share what it is that you're interested in the school, but also share what events you're going to participate in. As a club, obviously, we provided beginning of the year, your team plan. So you're going to go to Real Showcase, you're going to go to DWI, you're going to go to Player Showcase. Again, obviously, I'm just making up names for events right now, but you'll send that to college coaches, say, know what events to look at. All right, that's your first email. And then every time an event comes, you'll send another email. Here, we're attending John Smith, 2022, and Player Showcase. And then in that, you send and copy and paste the actual schedule for the event. And the schedule for the event, put it actually in the event, not a link to it, so the college coaches have it right there under your name, which again is your branding piece. This is yes, good.
Do we share the plates on the website, or do they just directly reach out to us? Question in the chat.
I think for a second. I didn't hear the whole.
Okay. For the cover letters and the emails to send out to coaches.
Yes.
Do we share those on the website, or should parents just reach out to us directly?
Currently, we don't have them on the website. To be fair, actually, it's not a bad idea to do so. We could actually put templates up there. Currently, until we do that, parents and players should reach out to us so we can provide those for them. But actually, mentioning that, we probably should put it up so everybody has access to that. Yeah. But for those listening, we will, if you have a need and a desire to start emailing, reach out to James or myself, and we'll happily share those templates with you. Great question. Thanks for asking that. We've already talked about this here. Set out schedules of events that you're participating in. Send out reminders to coaches you're interested in. Track schools come to events. This actually comes to the club. We ask our coaches when they go to events to have the person that's traveling with them, or a person that's traveling with them, walk around, and they're going to hand out a profile sheet that we put together as a club. You'll put together your individual profile. And that profile goes into College Fit Finder, which then allows us to put a profile sheet for college coaches together. We'll hand that out around, and while we do, we take notes of who's there, and we take the business cards if they have them, or the contacts, so that we can then share with our players who is there. And the reason it's important is we've had players that have gone and had a good game, and they're able to email and say, thank you for coming to my game. Glad you watched us play. And, I thought I did well in this game. Am I a fit for your program? When are your ID camps? We've also had players that have played poorly, and they know that the coach was there for that half, and they actually emailed, and this actually happened, and said, I played poorly in this half. I would have done this better, and I hope you can come see us play again. And actually, coach did, and this player actually ended up playing for this institution. So we track that for you, and then we send out those communication pieces to you as the event concludes, per game, so that players can communicate with schools. It's very important. One of our players that's committed to one of the better schools we've had, this player actually would email after every single game on a weekend, and I couldn't believe it because we asked that we get blind copied or copied on each email. I do personally, and so we can track and help if we know the coaches. And after every game, there was an email, and the phone would just blow up, and you're like, "Wow, great for you to be emailing, but holy cow, my phone's blowing up here." So, but again, we get to track that, and this constant and persistent communication actually benefits our players. Again, we've already spoken about all this. Along the way, you're going to find out what's important to you. We've already talked about the value of in-state visits and getting to know what each school looks like and the divisions. But along the way, you're going to find out, what you're looking for and the kind of questions you would want to ask of coaches. And again, we've already spoken of persistent immediate communication. Again, the example sharing that a player would email after every game, which we thought was overdue, but in the end, got this player a great opportunity to play. Effective recruiting video. And again, we talk now, it's so important now. You coaches are sitting at home right now. Everybody's worried about what's going on in our world. Not everybody, many people are. Coaches are told they probably need to stay at home for the most part, and because they've been affected not only in worry of travel, but also in support for their program. And so they're watching video. And again, I think this is going to affect the norm. It has been. You always use video in places where you're not going to be in front of coaches, and it's just become more of the norm. So as we talk about recruiting video, we want to make sure that the video is something that grabs their attention immediately, something that expresses who you are as a player off the get-go. We'll show you 2 videos just shortly here, but it needs to be who you are. If you're a ball winner, put that in there. In the first minute, we want to see you win a ball. If you're a creative player and you like to make people look silly with all the Corver moves and great, be that. If you're a goal scorer, be that. If you like to throw your feet out and tackle people, be that. But be that in your video. You don't want to be something in the video that you're not, especially because what that video is the video is drawing coaches in to want to watch you play, get you to an ID camp, coming to see you play at a showcase. So if that's not who you are when they show up, they're going to be disappointed. So make the video who you truly are, not just the 5 plays that were great. And if you're a ball winner and you're showing your creativity, that's not specifically it. Be who you are. The second part of this, the running periods of play, that's actually something that they will ask you later on. So always, as you're looking at video, find a good 15-minute period of you playing well within a team. They want to be able to see more, but that's not usually in the initial video. We'll go to a couple, just 2, just so you see. It will be glitchy, but you'll get an idea of it. It'll be very glitchy, only in that through this Zoom, it doesn't really play beautifully. Zach Bunder played for us. Don't need that. Zach Bunder played for us years ago. You'll see in his video right away who he is. Very creative player, and his video starts with a heel clip goal against Chivas. And then as you watch here again, it will be glitchy. I apologize for that, but again, the links are in our online presentation on our website under resources. But again, you'll see just this player wants to beat you with skills. This player wants to be creative. James and I will both attest. This is exactly who Zach Bunder was, and just one of the most fun players to watch. Very simple. That's who Zach was. Okay. Maria Fael, different kind of player. All right, she's a goal scorer. And right off the bat, you'll see that she scores goals, and she scores goals in creative ways, but that's all she does. She just scores goals. And so her video is an extreme testament to who she is. So two completely different types of players. Both players are highlighting in the beginning of their video who they are. And again, both players, highly talented regionally and nationally as players. So just important as you're building your video to understand that these are important to making sure that we represent ourselves and what we're trying to do. College camp details. Make sure you're going to a specific ID camp. This is very important, guys. There are so many businesses out there now that they will ask you to pay, whatever the number is, and they'll do it. They'll have 200 kids come in and they'll have 12 coaches. Well, that's not an ID camp to be seen specifically. Never in my history, and I don't know, James might be different, have I actually seen a player actually get to their college through these ID camps. And as a matter of fact, most come back very frustrated because the camp is not there specifically for the schools. So while you're looking for the ID camps, hopefully through your email communications, you're asking when the ID camps are. They will tell you which ones are actually ID camps for them. So if you're looking at, let's say Middlebury College in Vermont, ask which their ID camp is and which one is the one specifically they're looking for their players. And if you have any questions about that, ask James, ask myself. We will help you make sure that you're going to the right place. Obviously, they're money makers. This piece is important, and as we, again, knowing that the whole process to get to ID camps, be prepared for the college camp. Don't just show up, unfit. Middle of the winter, you haven't played since November. Make sure you're training. Make sure you're technically, feeling strong about yourself. But go on and prepare for these events. These questions, again, they're to help you kind of go through and sort out which ones are ID camps. In the end, ask James, ask myself. We're happy to make sure that you're going to the right place. Same thing. How do you shine in an ID camp or a showcase? Have a short memory. This is the number one thing. Everybody here in this that's listening to this, that's sitting here right now, everybody's made a mistake somewhere. And in the soccer environment, you're going to make mistakes. As a matter of fact, we want our players to build on mistakes. So you have to have a short memory. So if you make a mistake, your head's up, you're prepared for the next play, rather than you make a mistake, your head's down, and now the college coach sees your head's down and you don't react to adversity very well. So have a short memory. It's so important. It's probably something that's important in every walk of life, but for ID camps and showcases, have a short memory. Be impactful. All right. College coaches go to these events, not just showcases and ID camps. Every event they go to, they have a limited amount of time to watch each field, each game, each drill. And so while you're in that drill, be impactful. Make it so the coach can't walk away. We had a coach come and watch one of our teams play. Coach was watching this player and our team, and then went off to watch another team from Hawaii play, and came back 10 minutes later and said, just wanted to watch your team play again. I had to go see this player over here, but your team attracts us, and actually we had an extra player get an offer through that environment. Make it impossible for the coach to want to walk away and let's see another game. Be yourself. Coaches want your personality. And this goes to what we said about in the videos. They don't want the fake player. Be you. And that, again, you'll be found out quick enough. Make sure you're being who you are. Ball winner, creative player, great tackler in the defense. You're the captain and the leader vocally. Be professional all times. Some coaches actually already know they want a player, so they come early before a game, and they actually will just watch how players interact with their teammates. And sometimes they'll stay after and watch how you react after a loss or after a tough situation or when a coach pulls you off. Very important to be professional all times. Be a leader, right? The player that's always dictating and communicating, or even just leading by example. These are important players to coaches. And very important, be respectful to referees, coaches, players, and other teams. 3 biggest things coaches are looking for that you can control: hard work, the person you are, and technical level of play. And we'll show you, I'm just going to share with you one of my favorite videos. I don't know why I can't get to it. Sorry, this is my, I'm just going to click on it. It's underneath the link.
This program to get any one of these young ladies to be a part of this program. But at the end of the day, you got to decide which one am I going to offer this scholarship to?
I wish it was that easy.
Which one of these young ladies is got the kind of stuff that you want the most?
Yeah. When they're freshmen, let's say there's 50 kids that you think, man, these kids are like the 50 best ninth graders in the country. Then you watch them and they get to be 10th graders and it shrinks a little bit. Then they get to be 11th graders. Then by the time they get to be seniors, you go, okay, what kid, when I watch them play, plays their butt off every possession? They come down here, they get a rebound, they outlet it, and they get a layup at the other end. Then they run back, block a shot, go down the other, and they just play like that the whole game. Okay, that's one. Are they unselfish? Are they a great teammate? When they get subbed out of the game, they go sit at the end of the bench, put a towel on, or are they involved in the game? So are they the kind of person that I want at my house for dinner? Are they the kind of kid that's going to go to class all the time? Then by the time they get to see it, there's like 10 kids left out of that big group. And of those 10, every school in America wants them. And we're not going to, and if we get 2 of them every year.
See, now I'm starting to get into the sauce a little bit. I sit in my dark office and I make effort tapes. Great efforts. Outstanding, superb effort.
Yes.
How do you get a young lady to dive on that ball and get a loose ball or else? I mean, these Connecticut women play with tremendous effort. It's the greatest compliment I can give you. How do you get that out of them?
Well, I appreciate that. And we have a film, we have a tape. It's about 5 minutes. And we go through the years. See this kid? That was 30 years ago. Look at the play they just made. Kid diving over the press table to save a ball. We look at the score. It's like 70-30. Then we show a kid from 10 years ago, 5 years ago. There's the best player in America, Diana Taurasi, diving on a loose ball at half court. You know? So now, and you show the emotion. Right? Kid just blocked the shot. Here comes 3 guys on the team. Yeah! You know, and now you go, this is who we are. This is who we are. And if you can't live up to that standard, then you shouldn't play here. And when kid doesn't dive on that loose ball, I don't care what the score is, we just go, you know, one of the nice things about having 8 high school Americans on our team, if you don't do it, I'll find somebody who will.
Yeah, important to just understand we're watching 2 of the all-time great coaches there. Obviously, I'm sure everybody loves John Gruden here in town now, as he's the head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, and then Gino. I can't even pronounce his last name, but Gino, who coached the UConn women to many basketball titles. But again, just talk about effort and these kind of things. So these are what coaches are looking for. Important pieces of the process. Parents, know your child. All right. I feel like it is often lost that the person that knows what a child might be looking for is their parent most. And so you're going to help your child to understand who they are. Are they going to thrive in a big school, a small school? Are they going to thrive with dependence, or do they need a little bit more guidance? You know, what kind of coach do you think they're going to help? I mean, help them through that part of the process. That is where you can help the most. You know, watch games, help make sure that your players are watching, again, the D1, the D2, the D3, the NAIA schools. Make sure, again, that, you know, we're emailing and contacting coaches so that you start to build that personable relationship. Again, we've been through most of this already. Generate a list of questions that are important to the student to allow for objective comparison. Again, this is important. You know what you're looking for, and as the process goes, you're going to find things that are important to you. Maybe you need help academically, and so the school for you is the school that actually makes you go to study hall. Maybe you are the player that needs to be up and have extreme organization from the beginning of the day. And this institution at the morning, you do have weights, and then you have school from this time to this time, and then you're training. But those are questions that you'll add to things you'll communicate with coaches on as the process goes. Parents' role, just went through it again, knowing your child, support and direction. Again, academics, deciding on the family number. This is an important number. The family number is what can you as a family provide for your player to go to college. So the whole process as you go through this, it leads to what this number is. And that might be to the size of school, that might be to a in-state school, that might be an out-of-state school, but knowing where the family number can lead you is important. Don't rule out need-based aid. Obviously, when you become a senior, October your senior year, you can fill out FAFSA. That's going to guide you to all your opportunities to get the federal aid and these things. Hopefully, your guidance counselors at school are going to help you with that process. But we're also here to do that. But that's more on the academic side. Child's role in the recruiting process is very important to everything. This is the person that's going to actually be playing and working for the coach for 4 to 5 years. All these things play into it. Trying to see if there's anything most important here. Do the work as the player. And again, you read all those little pieces, but most importantly, the player puts in the work. The coach doesn't want to hear from the parent, but the parent is going to help guide the player. So behind the scenes, as a parent, please, help guide and make sure the work's being done, but make sure that the player is putting in the actual work, because in the end, that work is the amount of success you're going to see at the end of this. Types of financial aid. Again, this is hopefully being helped through your academic institution. I always mention WUI just because it's something unique to our state and the other states in WUI. As you're going through this process, whether you get financial aid on the athletic or academic side or not, if you're in a WUI state, we are, and you go to school or matriculate in another WUI state, you pay 150% of in-state tuition. So, as it says here, if the in-state tuition is $10,000, you'd pay $15,000. Let's say the out-of-state was $25,000, so you send $10,000. You save $10,000. So just a neat thing to have. Again, most likely you'll be shared with this in your academic institution. Yeah, we've cut this down over the years. I actually don't know what time we're on, James, but the full process, the full presentation's on our website. Again, I'll show you quickly again where that is for those that might have come in through the evening. But if you're on our website and you go to resources, under our resources tab is our college advisory program. And then if you go to the Real Colorado Edge information guide, this is the detailed process. So when we went through, for example, freshmen, and we said, get your grades and start develop your craft, this is more of the detailed version of that, even though we chatted about it this evening. But that's a resource for you online. James is a resource. I'm a resource. But we want to do is we want to open it up to questions because the purpose of this was to give you as much information as possible, but also a platform to ask questions specific to your son. And so if you have any questions, maybe James, somebody's already written in the chat. There's a chat function here. If there are questions there, please share those.
Yeah, we just got one question. There was a few questions in the chat that I answered on the side. It was about the templates. We got that information out to everybody.
Awesome.
Somebody asked, who should we work with in our son's college process? Coach, director, someone else at the club? I mean, for me, the more minds, the better. And so ask your coach what their thoughts are. Ask Ryan and I to help out, because it's only going to broaden. Ryan knows people that I don't know. I know people that Ryan doesn't know. Your coach may know people in colleges that we don't know. So the more the better. But just make sure that we're all engaged in that process, because you might be thinking one way and your coach, let's say your coach doesn't know that school or doesn't know that program very well, one of us might be able to jump in and say, oh no, I've got their cell phone number. I can give them a text. I helped a boy last year, an O2 boy, get into a school where the coach never saw them. We created a video during lockdown and I sent him a text and we were texting about the player, and he ended up walking on without ever being seen by the coach other than in a video that we went and shot at a local park to get the player in. So, you know, it was, you know, you never know what door is going to open by just asking a question and having more people informed. So good question. Thanks, JJ. Is there a login for College Fit Finder, or can we just go through the link on your website? You do have a login, and I will get those out to people. Feel free to zip me an email if you've lost your login or don't have it yet. But feel free to get that, to send me an email and we'll get that information to you right away. And I'll send it out again in the next few days. I'll send it out to everybody in the high school age part of our club. What are the next steps for my junior son? Can we do an individual meeting? Absolutely. We would probably use a format like this, where with Zoom, potentially in person outside, but with the cold temps and the COVID numbers, Zoom is a great platform for us to get together in an individual meeting. And we would probably exchange some emails first to say, are you prepared for the meeting? Is your son prepared for the meeting? We don't want to have a meeting, set up a Zoom call, and your son not have thought about going to college yet. And it's just a parent driving that process. You know, we would want the player to have some ideas about where he would want to go to school, or, you know, what he was thinking about academically, before it went to, let's just have a meeting. You know, we'd exchange some emails and try to get the player up to speed on what was ready, or what they needed to have ready for the individual meeting. But absolutely, individual meetings are fantastic, because these meetings are great for an overall idea, but the individual meeting is more specific about you and your player. Any other questions? Throw them in the chat. That's all that's in there, Ryan.
Great. Hey guys, thank you for coming on. Again, as I said at the beginning of this whole presentation, my passion, I know James's passion, is what our kids do in life beyond where we are today, beyond our club. And we are thrilled to be a part of it while we're here. And hopefully we can help your son get to that next level, and then share in the joy of seeing you guys have that success. So thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.